version of the restoration. Thank you, Rami.
Thank you. Thank you, Henry. Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm so excited to be here. I joined Dental XP in 2013, and this picture was taken in 2014 when I took my first course with Maurice. From 2013 until today, I don't remember I missed any symposium that XP did. And we still look the same, me and Maurice. And this picture was taken in 2020, right before COVID. I was not a speaker, but I waited for everybody to leave the room. I went on the stage and I grabbed this picture. So my dream was always to share the stage with my mentors and friends. I have a private practice in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. I'm very fortunate to have access to so many digital equipment. I'm also very fortunate to have the support of my wife, she's here, and my family, to have an excellent team around me that is always eager to learn, motivated, and loyal. Today's presentation is Rapid Digital Conversion, a simplified approach to do a full arch implant rehabilitation. But before I speak about the conversion, I want to speak about something very exciting that is happening around us and changing our life. The use of OpenAI. Someone introduced me to ChatGPT a few months ago, and it's changing my life. So to prepare for today's presentation, I went on ChatGPT's website and I asked a simple question. Can you tell me what is denture conversion? And I get instant response from it. But when I start reading, I realized that it is talking about the conversion process from a partial denture to a denture. So I changed my question. I said, can you explain full arch implant conversion? And this is when I start getting better response. This is the most sophisticated technology we have today. So my question to all of you, do we have a full confidence in technology? Do we trust technology 100%? Or do we have to verify its results? And I want you to keep this question in your mind during my presentation. So what is conversion? Conversion is a transitional, fixed, implant-supported prosthesis. It's a very significant step during the full arch restoration process. It's a prototype that we use to confirm aesthetic, function, and fit. And if the prototype is accurate, it's so easy to reproduce it with the final material of our choice. If we look back at the data and the different methods that are available to us today, we can tell that we're still in the evolution stage. We can tell that clinicians and companies are trying their best to simplify the process. Just to mention a few of those methods, we have the denture conversion. We have a stackable guided conversion. Some companies are coming up with a special shaped scan body. They said if we bring the scan bodies closer together and closer to the tissue, we might be able to get better scan. Few clinicians are adding fixed objects like screws, fiduciary markers to the palate, to the porosity area, to help them scan better and just to help them also merge data together. And then we have the photogrammetry that we know it's accurate, but has limitations, so many limitations, when it comes to soft tissue, midline, incisal edge position, cost, and availability. And we have another method that Dr. Tawil mentioned yesterday, the grammetry, which is very smart and clever. And now we have my method, the rapid digital conversion. What distinguishes my method is that I'm scanning a model, and instead of attempting to scan intraoral. Scanning a model is way easier, is more precise, and more predictable. But the question is, how can I scan a model in occlusion? How can I scan a single end-mounted model in occlusion? I'd like to refer to this article from 2017, and it's still relevant today, where they did a comparison between desktop scanner, intraoral scanner, and a CBCT model scan. And in their conclusion, they say conventional impression, model casting, and optional digitalization using desktop scanner remains the recommended workflow. In fact, most of prosthodontists still believe that conventional impression and desktop scanner is the gold standard still. For my method to work, I'm requesting an accurate, single, verified, and mounted model to be present next to the patient. A model that has soft tissue information and implant position information. And from the patient, I need to collect the proper VDO, the midline, and the incisal edge position. And then I need to combine all this data in one file to be sent to the lab to start the designing process. I start my process by choosing 2 implants in the anterior region, and I connect them with resin. And I start adding resin to that connection until I get to the proper VDO. When the proper stop is achieved, I mark the midline on this device, and I'm calling this device anterior scanning device, or ASD. And then I start the scanning process. I scan the opposing, I scan the device, and then I scan the bite. And I pause my scan. If you want to learn one thing today from today's presentation, you have to pay attention to the next step, because that's really where the trick. In the next step, I take the device out, put it on the model, unpause the scanner, and tell the scanner to continue the scanning process. The scanner knows stitching. The scanner does not care that I started intraoral and now I'm finishing the scan on a model in my hand. And this is how I get a model, single model mounted virtually perfectly in occlusion. The next step is very easy. I take the device out, put the scan body. Any scan body will work with my method. You don't have to buy special scan bodies. Whatever your lab does, you put the scan body on the model, you use the desktop scanner, which is the gold standard, to collect one additional scan. And with the technology we have, it's so easy to merge 2 scans taken by 2 different scanners for the same object with one click, and look at the mesh. And this is how you got a desktop scan model with the scan body attached, mounted perfectly in occlusion. In fact, this is all the information we need for the lab technician, any digital designer lab, to start the designing process. And this is me designing. I'm trying to master the process. So we have the scan body information. We have the soft tissue information. We have the midline. We have the incisal edge position. Everything is mounted perfectly in occlusion. In fact, to make it even easier, we're going straight to multi-unit. What's that mean? That means my prototype is one piece. That means there's no metal parts inside my prototype. That will simplify the production process so I can print and deliver, and simplify the reproduction process. If the patient breaks a prototype, you can reprint it, you can remill it. Whenever the design is complete, look how much control I have over the designing process. Whenever the design is complete, I send it to the printer. Or you can do milling. Stain it and glaze it, and verify it on the model I have. And if it fit on the model, single model, if it fit on the model, I know it's passive, I can deliver it to my patient in 5 minutes. Look at the integrity surface. There's no metal parts. I can reproduce the same prototype 1 times, 10 times. We let the patient try it for 1 week, 1 month, 3 months, whatever time you need. And if the patient is happy with the prototype, if I'm happy with the prototype, it's so easy to reproduce the same prototype with the final material of your choice. If you look carefully here, this way, on this video, there's 2 files. They're exactly identical. One of them is going straight to the multi-unit, and the other one is going straight to tie bases. So I build the same design in zirconia. I cement the tie bases on it, verify it on the model I have, and then deliver it to my patient. I took my kids and my family to Washington, D.C. with my friend and his family. It's a beautiful city. I will advise everyone to visit, and it's very symbolic. Every statue has a story behind it. But I was walking in Georgetown, and I see this sport on the water. And this is rowing. It's an ultimate team sport. And the success depends on all rowers giving their greatest effort. I felt that full arch dentistry is an ultimate team sport between surgeon, restorative dentist, and a lab technician. And the more harmony, the more synchronization, the more communication between them, the better the outcome will be. This is my second case. This is James. He was referred to my office from one of my colleagues. He said if I can help him get something fixed instead of the partial. James had 3 implants on the upper right I'm not really touching. So any case that comes to my office, I start by collecting digital impressions, CBCT, and a few images. And I start the planning process for James by designing a partial denture that can be 3D printed. When the design is complete, I moved my prosthetic design into the implant planning software. So now I can plan my implant based on my final prosthetic design and based on how much bone I have. When my plan is done, I can execute it, fabricate a surgical guide that will help me deliver what I plan. And this is my surgery, which is not really the focus of today's presentation. I used the guide, I did the extraction, placed 5 implants, did the bone graft, sticky bone, PRF, membrane, and closed. Put the multi-unit and closed. This is major advantage for this method because the surgeon work is done. You know, with other methods, sometimes the surgeon has to stop his work for the conversion to happen. With this method, the surgeon can finish his surgery, complete, and walk away. Now the restorative dentist, we need to collect an accurate impression to make a verified model present. And the way I do it, I connect impression coping to the multi-unit. I made a 3D printed resin plate. They are 2 millimeter thickness. They are very hard material from biocompatible material. And I connect those impression coping using those resin plates and pattern resin. So I'm creating an instant verification check. When all of them are connected, I can remove that device, add more pattern resin from the inside to secure them in place, put it back to verify it's passive, and then I do my trayless impression technique. I take an impression, whatever impression you need to do, and then I make a resin model for faster processing. Now the model part, or the verified model, is present. Now the first step. The next step is I printed the partial denture. And I connect this partial denture to only the 2 implants in the anterior segment. I remove distal of the canine, remove the palate, and start the scanning process. I scan the opposing, I scan the small device I made, and then I scan the bite. And it will be clear in the next slide. What is the next step? I pause the scanner, remove that device, put it on the model I have, unpause the scanner, tell the scanner to continue the scanning process. The scanner see the model and continue, see the device and continue scanning. And this is how we get one single model perfectly mounted. And that partial denture has the midline information and the incisor information. The next step, I take this device out, put the scan body, it's exactly the same. Collect one additional scan using the desktop scanner. And with the technology we have, I can merge it. And this is how I get a desktop scan model with the scan bodies of your choice mounted perfectly at occlusion. And this is still me designing. We're still going straight to the multi-unit to simplify the process. We have access, we have 10, 15 different teeth shape selection that we can choose from. We can increase the thickness of the gingiva if we want to in some areas. When the design is complete, I print it, I verify it on the model. If it's fit on the model, I stain it and glaze it and deliver it to my patient in less than 24 hours. And this is the delivery process. It's really a matter of collecting data. If you can learn how to collect the data, you can deliver this. But he has this for some time. But I just realized, I made him another prototype, but I realized that the screw axis is close to the incisal edge position, regardless that I did all the planning ahead of time. But the screw axis is close to the incisal edge position, so I made a decision, I'm going to change those multi-unit abutment from a straight multi-unit to angle multi-unit. Now I need to take a new impression, make a new model, collect the same data with the same method. But this time, I added facial scan to the process. For people who does not just use facial scanner is an excellent tool for designing purposes only. I send all this information with the facial scan to my lab technician. And this is what I got back from him. This is why it's a team approach. This is why we need talented lab technician in our life. I tried to design myself. I can't do this design. Look how much details in this design. So I send all this information to him, and I want you to see this video, which is only 30 seconds, because I want you to see the benefit of the facial scan. The only benefit of the facial scanner is the side view. And this is it. That's the only major advantage of a facial scan. If we can stitch it right. The design is milled. Milling is stronger. If you are planning to keep the prototype, still milling is more, has more longevity. I milled it, stained and glazed it, verified on the model, and delivered to my patient. There's one more case I like to show. This is Nancy, and Nancy came to me, and she said, "Can you help me get a fixed option?" And I said, "Yeah, that was 1.5 years ago." Of course. So I was doing a stackable guided system at that time. I collected all the data I need for Nancy and send it to the lab. And when you do a stackable guided system, they plan 1 hour, I think, planning session, and then you decide on the treatment plan, and you get all the case back in boxes. So everything is really very high end. I love the system, but I think it needs to be improved. So I get all the parts I need. I did my bone foundation guide, bone reduction. I placed my implant precisely. I did the guided conversion, upper first, and then I started with the lower. And this is my conversion to your right side after 6 hours, 7 hours of work. But let's look at this picture together. I want you to pay attention only to one side. So imagine after 6 hours of working, and I'm going to read this statement for you. Inadequate occlusion is one of the most important reasons for implant failure. So imagine after 6 hours of working, I ask my patient to close, and she's biting only on one side. And I get my handpiece and start adjusting occlusion, and I'm drilling and praying in the same time. I'm drilling and praying until I get this occlusion, and then I keep praying for the next 4 months. Patient comes back in 4 months. Now I need to make her a better conversion. Instead of they send me two sets that you can take an impression and send it back to them. But instead of doing it in a traditional way, I want to just come up with a way that I can make a way better conversion. So what I did is, she has a conversion already. I scanned it. I scanned the upper and the lower, intraoral, only the conversion, and then scanned the bite. And paused my scanner. So the upper, lower, and the bite, and pause. In the next step, I took the conversion out. I did upper impression and lower impression, using the same method. Same verification jig, putty material and light body wash, and I made an upper model and lower model. I put the conversion on the model. I unpaused my scanner and told my scanner to continue the scanning process. As soon as the scanner sees the conversion, it will automatically start scanning or continue scanning. And now I'm scanning two models in my hand perfectly in occlusion. The idea of this method, you are capturing the bite intraoral, but you are finishing everything else extraoral. So now I have the upper model and the lower model virtually mounted. I take the conversion back from the model, give it to the patient, send the patient home, connect scan body to those two models, and collect two desktop scans for both of them, and do the merge. This is how I get two verified model, single and mounted. No articulator is used, but mounted perfectly in occlusion with a scan body attached. I send all this information to my design lab. And this is what I get back from him. This is all the information he needs. He has the scan body information, which is the implant location. He has the soft tissue information. He has the old conversion to use it for the midline, for the proper bite or the proper VDO. So he has all the information he needs to send me this beautiful design. And as I said, no matter how good we are, without talented lab technician, it's really hard to get to this level of accuracy in digital dentistry. So now I have an upper and lower design made. I wish you saw the 2D image to see the comparison between the facial scan and the 2D image. But anyway, I got the design, I milled it, stain it and glaze it, I verify it on the model I have, and deliver it to my patient. No tie bases, straight to multi-unit. But look at how good the occlusion is. When I do upper and lower full arch, especially when I finish with my good prototype, I like to finish one arch at a time. So what I did is, this lower arch, I want an exact identical copy of that one from zirconia in my case. So the only thing I do, we go back to the software and change the scan body type from straight to multi-unit to straight to tie bases. So it's the same exact design, except we're changing the intaglio surface of that design. This is being milled, centered, pink ceramic was added to it, tie bases were connected, verified on the model, and this is the final delivery for the lower. It's just amazing result in a very easier way to do it. There's a new trend in dentistry now where lab technicians and some clinicians are doing titanium bar as a substructure and zirconia as a superstructure. So I called my designer and I say, can we do it? He said, of course. We just need to split the file into two files. So the upper, he split the upper design into now 2 files. One of them, I send it outsource it to mill the titanium bar. We mill the zirconia in the office. But now we have to do double verification. We have to verify that the bar is fitting into the zirconia and the bar is fitting on the model. If everything fit well, pink ceramic was added to it. And this is my final delivery on the upper. Every case that comes to my office leave with a 3D printed night guard, regardless if it's a single implant or it's multiple implants. I believe that this is the minimum that all of you need to provide to your patient. 3D printed night guards, it's an excellent start because you can print as many as they need. If they break it tomorrow, they call me, I can reprint another one, they can stop by in 2 hours and get it. This is the benefit of digital dentistry. But this is the best of technology, but a verified technology. We're verifying what technology is giving us. What's a take-home message? Hybrid oral model scanning can offer a number of benefits. There's not only full arch cases. I mean, you can use it for so many denture cases where you scan the bite intraoral and then you finish outside. This strategy can be implemented at various stages following implant placement or once the implants are fully integrated. So this strategy, you can apply it if you place the implant today, you take the impression and start collecting the data, or when your implants are integrated, you can use this method. Hybrid scanning can be used for both guided and freehand implant placement. So if you're a guided and unguided person, this can be used. If you are freehand, this is perfect. With sufficient resources, same day or next day conversion is possible. So if you have a lab technician in the office, if you have some expertise designing, I mean, this is really, you can do it either the same day or the next day. There's less guesswork and more predictability because data collection starts after implants and multi-unit abutment are in place. There's no guesswork. It's not like you are planning and you're expecting the position of the implant to be here and then you have to do, it's not right, it does not work all the time. But you are collecting the data after the multi-unit are in place. Final restoration can be accomplished by duplicating the current provisional. Adding any available technology or integrating facial scanning can further simplify the process. So I'm all about technology. And technology is in our life to simplify it, to stay. But you have to use it in the best way possible. And my research indicates that in the future, incorporating model scanning can provide significant advantages and benefits. With this, I'd like to thank Dental XP for this kind of invitation. I'd like to thank you from the heart. This is very emotional for me today.
I told Rami that I didn't think he would be able to fit all this kind of information in 30 minutes. He proved me wrong. I can't believe it. And did it so beautifully. Very creative. Thank you very much. All right, we're going to take a